that I'm now into December, so the 12th monthly film of the year, and that'll be 2024 done. So yeah, what a journey I've had this year. My Christmas wreath this year, I've gone dried with a lot of the decorations, so yeah, I really like it actually, so I hope you do too. Anyway, let's have a quick look around the garden. There's not a huge amount to see. I've covered a lot of things up to stop the weeds, but anyway, here we go. My Enviromesh tunnels survived Storm Darragh, which was last weekend, 2 days of really strong winds. Yeah, everything stayed on. I lost a few little clips, but apart from that, we're all good. So let's just have a closer look at everything, just to kind of finish off the season, because I've got bulbs in, I've got a few annuals in, and I've got some biennials in, and I've got my ranunculus in too. So let's just have a little closer look just to sort of see where we are. I'm not expecting anything to be showing the tulips. I just hope that they're still all there underneath. I've still got a suspicious looking hole, but I'm not really going to know until a couple more months really, see what happens. Now what I've got here is my Daucus, which is, I kind of treat it as a hardy annual actually, so get them sown in August time and planted out. There's still the remains of some statice here which I cut back. I want to see if they overwinter, so that's a bit of an experiment. But the Daucus are looking well, and so are the cornflower. I've got cornflower here, which are looking pretty healthy. Well, on this side, my corn cockle are looking quite good. They were nice strong plants when they went in, so fingers crossed that they're going to survive. Sweet William, delighted with those, no sign of the virus I sometimes get. Hesperus too is also looking great. And the Honesty is fine. Not so many plants this year, but I'm happy with those. Meanwhile, on the other side, I've mentioned the Daucus and the cornflower. Here I've got a few more Daucus. It's a bits and pieces bed, which I usually try and avoid, but I've got a bit of Daucus and foxgloves, and I've got some Canterbury bells. Now they were getting munched by something. Look a little bit better than last month, but we'll see. This bed I've just cleared, so I need to cover that in black plastic, ideally with a layer of compost first. And then, yeah, the foxgloves are looking good, and I've got the odd bit of Phacelia popping up too, which is self-sown. I've got a mole or two. It seems they're very soft in the middle here, but hey ho, they've all got a right to be here. Anyway, with the garden, foxgloves, looking great. Another bed of cornflower, just on this side. No Enviromesh on that, so it'll be interesting to see the comparison with the ones that are protected and the ones that aren't. Actually, I've got another bed of cornflower beside it, those are protected. Ranunculus are right at the back, we'll have a closer look at those. On the left-hand side, well, I didn't think that the the self-sown Lavateria were going to survive the winter. They're looking pretty sad. So I might just hedge my bets, cut that out. So here's the sad looking Lavateria. Couple are dying, couple are looking okay. Don't think they're going to survive for long. We've got some clary sage looking fab over there. Yeah, the clary sage are looking pretty good. Yeah, nice strong plants to hopefully put up with the winter. and some more Sweet Williams as well. And some more Sweet William, which again, so far so good, they're looking good. No sign of any virus just yet. I've managed to plant 90 ranunculus, 45 salmon and 45 white ones. I still have some more pastello, I think they are, which actually are a lot smaller. So I think the corms are maybe smaller in the first place, or they're just not such a vigorous ranunculus, I don't know. But they are hardening off, and I want to get those in the ground soon as well. Better in the ground for me than mollycoddling them anywhere else. Gradually turning my garden over to more perennials and creating a more naturalistic effect. And I'm not going to cut back these seed heads. I like the structure that it gives, and of course the stipe looks lovely against it as well. Couldn't resist showing you this little patch of honesty here. It's so nice when you just leave it, lovely colour, and then all the seeds have come off, so I should get lots of plants there next year. So this spot works quite well for hardening off, particularly at this time of year. It's north facing, it's got a little bit of an overhang from the shed which protects it. What I am doing on the whole, except not in these are the next lot of ranunculus, by the way, that I'll be putting in the ground today or tomorrow. They've got a little bit of root growth showing. So what I tend to do is, rather than leaving them in a gravel tray, which holds the water like this, and so things are more likely to damp off if I don't keep an eye on them, I start putting them in the winter in trays that have got holes that can drain, basically. I might put a bit of capillary matting in the bottom, and that just allows, they don't need any water, so if it does rain, the water will just drain through, the capillary matting will hold on to a little bit. So here's the capillary matting in the bottom of the tray. I've just got to make sure they don't actually dry out. So yeah, I've got quite a lot of things here that I don't really need in the greenhouse. I've planted out enough and I'm just keeping them back as reserves. The perennial area has been pretty much left, as I explained last time, so lots of growth for insects to take cover over the winter. Let's have a look in the greenhouses. Little one first. So far so good in here. I'm just, say it time and time again, I'm just really trying not to water anything. So the odd thing is damping off. So that's quite a good example there, so I need to chuck that. So it's a question of just going through things and seeing, yeah, if anything's had it like that, like this has here. But anyway, the larkspur, larkspur fine, and I've got some tiny nigella, fleeces at the ready. I took some pelargonium cuttings, which are down here. I'm doing well. Again, if they're dry, then they can't really freeze too much. Meanwhile, outside, in the cold frame, no water source. I have got chips off the Covent Garden, sweet peas, still alive. And the bulbs. So we've got, oh dear, these need to be planted out. Allium sphaerocophilum, Camassia still hasn't come up. Okay, let's have a look in the bigger greenhouse. It's a bit of a jungle in here. I've got 4 huge agapanthus pots right at the end. I've moved those from the patio. We've got some ami, and some Lavatera, which I'm reluctant to harden up outside. They just feel like they will really succumb to any frost. They're far too big. Don't quite know how they've got so big. And we've got some Snapdragon. Just keeping those there, limiting the amount of water. We've got some Scabiosa. These could probably be okay outside, but I think I'll leave them here for the time being. And more Lavatera. A bit more Scabious. That one or two don't look great there. Lots of Snapdragons. And of course on the other side, my Orlea is planted. Not much movement there, all looking nice and healthy. Okay, let's have a look at the final patch, or let's see how I've put it to bed. Okay, there's nothing to show you down here, apart from the dahlias are covered up, which I think was done last month, and we've also managed to cover up the other patch there. Everything's anchored down. All the sheets are anchored down with pins, which works really well. Pick one out. So we've got lots and lots of pins. If you're going to do a job, it's definitely worth doing it properly. So making sure you're anchoring down the plastic, so you're not constantly coming in, putting it back, or it's ripping and you're having to replace it. So I bought a load of these pins and everything is now anchored down. Yeah, even survived Storm Darragh. So that's it for the December garden tour. Mistletoe grows everywhere here in Gloucestershire, so this is in one of the apple trees in the orchard, and there's at least half a dozen other clumps all within easy reach here. So the final thing to do is to thank you for watching. Please hit subscribe and have a fantastic Christmas and New Year. Keep safe and see you next year.